Welcome to Zombie Advisor with James Knapp, the only podcast where being undead isn't an excuse for being unresponsive. This is the space where financial advisors and clients come together to break free from the old, slow-moving reactionary system. If you're tired of working with the outdated model and want to build a client-first, service-driven practice, you're in the right place. We'll help you level up with real education, powerful strategies, and a bit of fun, so you can deliver top-tier service, form strategic alliances, and truly thrive. Whether you're an advisor looking to stand out or a client wanting better, Zombie Advisor is your place to grow, learn, and maybe even have a laugh. Tune in as we shake the dust off of outdated practices, dissect what really matters to today's clients, and tap into the brains of industry leaders who are actually alive, alert, and crushing it.
It's time for a wake-up call, and James Knapp is doing the dialing. Professionals to stop sleepwalking and start challenging industry assumptions. I'm Patrice Sikora, and today we will learn more about James from James. Well, James, I am very glad to be with you, but before we get going, tell me what happened on this date in market history.
Great question, Patrice. On this date, on November 19th, 2021, was the first day tech stocks took the NASDAQ to an all-time high, closing above 16,000.
Okay, not bad at all. Not bad at all. So obviously we are recording on the 19th of November. We are, a week out from Thanksgiving. And it's funny that we should be talking Thanksgiving. I'm thinking food already because you once used a restaurant analogy to explain your view of financial services. Tell me about that.
Yeah, the way I view the financial planning industry as a whole today is more about a restaurant. So if you go into a high-end restaurant, you're going to have the back of the house, which is where the kitchen is. You're going to have the middle of the house, which is where the busboys servers are. And then you're going to have the front of the house, which is the maitre d' or the person that's going to be the concierge person to take care of you. In our industry, the back of the house is actually strategic partners that we deal with, attorneys, accountants, property casualty people, mortgage brokers, bankers. It's also our chief investment officer. He deals with investments every day, and that's how he looks at the market. He doesn't have a lot of client interaction, but because of the middle of the house and how we get information to him, the orders come in correctly, and then the kitchen makes the order the way that it's supposed to be. So it's actually customized to the person. If you want your steak medium rare, you have to tell your server. You don't tell the chef, which is kind of a funny thing to think about. And then your order comes out, and it's, I don't want a lot of salt on my mashed potatoes, and I don't feel like asparagus tonight. I'd rather have a house salad. Great. We can make that custom solution for you. But the person that's actually taking the order is our integrated wealth manager. That's the person that's actually dealing with you on a daily basis and understands what you want. And our wealth architects are the people that really understand how to customize that solution and how to frame that up for you. And so, financial services at its core is a service industry. If you go to a great restaurant, you can actually have a great meal, but not great service. And historically, if you have a great meal, but bad service, you leave with a bad taste in your mouth.
And it can be the other way around, too.
It can. Great service, terrible food.
Right, right. That's a great analogy. It really is. But then that brings me to the question, with thinking about it that way, how did you get into financial services? Did you come in the front of the house or the back of the house?
Yeah, I took 6 years of home ec, if that helps you. A long time ago, I actually knew I was pretty much an entrepreneur. When I was 12 years old, I signed up for a paper route, and I didn't tell my parents. We just moved to Hudson, Iowa from Waterloo, Iowa. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I started my first business. I knew I wanted to be a business owner, but I didn't know what kind of business I wanted to be in at that time. So I went to college, worked for Bisco Industries in Seattle, Washington, where I was selling electronic components to aerospace companies. And most of my friends were I was playing rugby with them on the weekends. I lived within 10-mile radius of 35,000 millionaires right before the dot-com bubble crash in 2000.
Wow.
I realized most of my friends were millionaires, and I didn't know how they got there, but because they worked at Microsoft for a period of years, they proceeded to have millions of dollars. And so I'd read a lot of articles. There was a need for new advisors in the financial services industry. So I left Seattle, moved back to St. Paul, and chose to work with American Express Financial Advisors, because American Express at that time had the best training in the industry, and that you had a bifurcated approach to life. You could actually stay in corporate, or you could actually go out and run your own franchise. And since I'd run my own franchise with Bisco, and my paper route was sort of my own franchise at the beginning, because we had to collect the money and do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
I chose to do that. And so after a while, in 2003, I worked at American Express. In 2005, I ran a franchise with Ameriprise Financial. In 2006, I wrote my business plan. In 2012, I left Ameriprise and started our own RIA, and that's where we are today.
Why did you feel you wanted to leave?
At the end of the day, the laws were drafted to protect the brokerage house, not the client. And so when I first learned how to do financial planning, what I was taught was we sell financial plans so we can sell more products. And that always felt uncomfortable to me. Growing up as an Eagle Scout, we had to go door to door and sell all the things, and we were trustworthy, and we had to be fiduciaries and do all these things. And it just never felt right to take money that provided no value other than to myself and the organization I work for. Financial services is about the person that you're dealing with and trying to get them to their goals faster than they would if they wouldn't hire you. And so there has to be some value for trade. Money it's fungible. It has no face. It has no religion. It doesn't know who you are, if you're good or bad. And people transfer money every day. And at the end of the day, I looked at the way the rules were drafted, and I didn't feel comfortable in the situation. And I wanted to be a fiduciary, and I couldn't do that in the broker-dealer world.
I love it. Congratulations on being an Eagle Scout. And once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout.
Be prepared. That's
I
right.
love it, the ceremonies where they say, anyone who has received an Eagle Scout, please stand up and join the young man, or now young woman, receiving their award. Yeah,
Correct.
That's great. That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you're in the profession, and there's really you can't be a fiduciary. Where do you find your mission? Where do you find your purpose?
At the end of the day, I just thought about my parents and what they would need. My dad was a mechanic and my mom was a secretary. They didn't have a lot of extra resources. And so any way that you could help them achieve their goals faster without what I call a drag on their portfolio, whatever fees they're paying me to get there, was a better way to do it. Investments are one of the 6 key areas that we help our clients in. We do comprehensive financial planning. So it's budgeting, it's risk management, it's estate planning, it's investments. We look at what their needs are for all areas of their financial life, whether they're buying a house or their mortgage, or how much money they're going to put in their kids' education account, and how much they can afford to do that. My parents couldn't afford a lot of things. And so we met with a broker right before I went to college. I'd saved like $10,000 in my summer jobs. He was a Piper Jaffray guy, and I'll never forget. We sit down, and he's got the whole, market going above his head. I have no idea what's going on. My mom didn't tell me what we were doing. We're downtown Waterloo meeting with a guy as a family friend, and he sits down. He's like, "You got 3 months to go to college, and you want to give me $10,000 to turn into some money, kid?" I go, "I guess so." I have no idea what I'm doing. He's like, "That's not a very long period of time. I can't really help you." And along we went. And so we just ended up putting it in CDs. He said, "We'll just put it in CDs and just pull it out as you need it to pay for college." And I'll never forget that transaction. He just looked at us and was like, "I can't make any money here, and there's no way I can make enough money that you need to pay me to do this. So good luck to you." And he didn't offer any help or solution whatsoever. And I just felt that was empty. I felt empty inside.
The front of the house really fell down there.
It wasn't his concern. It's not his problem, right? He's there to work for Piper, and he had to make his living, and he really couldn't help us, and he didn't really offer any solutions. So it was just the way he was trained.
Yeah. What about the way you were trained?
I was fortunate to have a couple mentors that really took me under their wing to teach me taxes. Mike Mader, David Breen taught me financial planning, and then Paul Ramseth taught me insurance. And so I had some mentors that were actually really looking at what the customer needed. They taught me what the tools are and the resources that we could work with. I met with them on a monthly basis, and without them, and the training that we had, I probably would have failed out of the industry. And so I was fortunate to have some older folks teach me what to do. And I learned that in our industry, this is an apprenticeship program. You can read things in a book, but until you actually deal with real life, it's just a very messy job. There's a lot of emotion involved in it. We're always thinking and talking to our clients about different ways they can solve solutions or problems, but you have to coach them in order to do that. Many times people understand what they need to do, but they're afraid to pick up the phone and make that phone call. So we would go to our meetings with our clients so we'd learn what experiences they were going through at the same time. That was the most helpful thing that I've had in my career, was just going to the estate planning meeting or dealing with their mortgage broker. We had a client one time leave the country and had to sell their house, and they gave me power of attorney to sell their house, and I went to the closing. That was a very unique experience. Everybody was in the room like, what is this kid doing here to sell this $2 million house? I was like, I don't own it. I'm just here representing the family. So you learn a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. What about this podcast? What is the goal of this podcast? And the name, I love the name, Zombie Advisor.
At the end of the day, that meeting that I had with Piper Jaffray, with the advisor that, he's passed away now, and I knew him for a long period of time, so I don't want to use his name, but that experience that I had where he didn't really give us any help, and my mom and dad didn't have a lot of financial acumen at that time, so they didn't know where to go. That experience that I had carried me with, I guess, into this future of where we are today. When I saw that moment, he could have given us a lot of different avenues to deal with us, but he chose to be a zombie. I can't help you, so good luck to you, and move on. You go to the bank teller, and they have a money market that's paying higher than what you have in your checking and savings account. They don't offer it to you. You have $50,000 in your savings account. Nobody mentions that you can get 3.5% in the money market. Simple conversation. The bank teller is a zombie. You go talk to somebody about your insurance products that you have for whatever property casualty you have. They don't make you aware that you can have a safe driving record and save 30% on your property casualty insurance if you just download an app and drive around with it. They're not saying they're going to harm you, but you have a potential saving 30% on that. Zombie advisor. There's so many zombies around that are only looking out for themselves, or don't understand what the client's actually going through, or don't take the time to get curious as to how to deal with the client's problems. And our problem, or I guess our job, is to listen to what our clients' problems are and then find unique and creative solutions for that, and then help them execute on that, which is unique in our industry.
Where in the process do you think the zombie starts to develop? Is it an industry problem, or is it the people coming into the industry? Are they already predisposed to becoming zombies?
I don't think that's it at all. I think that our industry does a poor job of training and teaching our people what our potential opportunities are. I mean, you could go to Chick-fil-A. You walk into Chick-fil-A and they ask you how your day is going. That's crazy. You'll have the best experience of your life if you walk into a Chick-fil-A, and I always talk about it from a customer experience. This is a fast food restaurant that took a 14-year-old kid and figured out how to make them ask the question, how is your day going? And if somebody gives you a bad response, take the time to ask why. I think it's more about expectations. People get into financial services, or to be a lawyer, or to be an accountant, or to be in some professional service to help people at the end of the day. That's what drives them to go do that. And then they get in the industry and they realize they don't have the tools or the confidence to ask the questions and get curious about it. And so I don't blame people for doing it. I think it's just the system and training that we have in our industry that's after the almighty dollar instead of actually the customer experience.
The Chick-fil-A example is perfect, because my thought is the people around you, if the people around you are helpful, are open, are creative, that imbues that in you, that feeds that feeling in you. So it's not, where in the industry are we getting the plain vanilla, the nothing? There are people who are really good and they care. What happens to the others?
Yeah, I mean, I think about how the industry evolves. So certified financial planning has been around 50 years. We've had our 50-year anniversary. I actually happened to be in DC when we had our 100-year anniversary for the Eagle Scouts and didn't even realize that I was there in the parade. We were just walking through the Smithsonian and I realized I was like, man, there's a lot of scouts around, and we were walking through it. So it was crazy. Kate's like, oh, you're an Eagle Scout. You need to put on your uniform. I was like, forgot it at home, honey. But I think about the certified financial planning industry actually started from a conversation for insurance agents a long time ago. And they realized that they were not helping their clients as much as they could by just selling them an insurance product. And so if you look at 50 years ago, mutual funds were very small. The whole financial advice industry was just burgeoning, and there wasn't a lot of money in the system. The average income at that time in the United States was like $10,000 a year. Flash forward through the 80s and 90s, you have a lot of money in the system. Now everybody's chasing the dollar, and everybody wants to talk about investments because they're really sexy. It doesn't really help you get to your goals. It doesn't really help you sit down and think about what it is that you want for yourself. When do you want to retire? How do you want to pay for your kids' college? What kind of cars do you want to drive? Do you want a second house? Is there a vacation that you want to take on a regular basis? If I'm only there to sell you insurance, or if I'm only there to manage your money, I'm not asking those questions because I don't have enough time in my day, because it's only benefiting me to gather those assets, because that's how I get paid. I'm only getting paid on the assets under management that I have for you. So, doing comprehensive financial planning and charging a fee for that service requires me to actually follow through on the values that we're committed to on our contract. That means I have to sit down with you and ask you questions about yourself, and it's all about you. I get to be the fiduciary. I get to explore you, what you want to do, how you want to behave, what changes do you need to make. People don't just call financial advisors. It's not like one of those things where you look in the yellow pages like, man, I really need an advisor today. This is going to be a great day. No. And if you want to clear out a room at a party, tell them you're a financial advisor. You'll never see faster. Like everybody's like, wow, that's great. See you later. Never talk to you again. This guy only wants to sell me something. So we charge for financial plans. We do a service to our clients. At the end of the day, if we manage your assets, great. If not, no big deal. We're just there to provide a service, to do a comprehensive financial plan for you. And Schwab did a research project, and they do it every year. They send out to 1,000 RIAs across the country. Schwab has 75% of all RIA assets. They're the largest asset manager in the world at $11 trillion in our industry. And only 15% of financial advisors charge for financial plans. So I think the zombie advisor apocalypse started many decades ago, when it actually started out on the right direction, and then money got involved, and now everybody wants to talk about investments when nobody really knows what they mean.
Spot on. Right. So what makes you so different?
I don't know. I really care about people. I truly get a joy watching people win. I guess it's the coach in me that gets excited when somebody else scores a touchdown or makes a basket or stops the ball or whatever sport you want to play. I don't really care what it is. If somebody wins, hey, I went to work. I got up today. I worked really hard. I met with my financial advisor. We made a pivotal decision to go in a different direction. And 5 years later from that, the client retires and they call you and say, thank you very much for that conversation. It really changed my life. That's an impactful moment,
Yeah. It's kind of delayed gratification.
You know where they're going to go. Yeah. As the advisor, you know what direction they just chose. They don't see it yet, but you know where they're going to go.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. It is.
Hey, you. Yeah, you with the earbuds. Thanks for hanging out with us on Zombie Advisor. If you're digging what you're hearing right now and want more, or just want to talk shop, head over to BOYUMWA.com or hit up the show notes for links to all the good stuff. Let's talk.
Yeah.
All right, James, when you're not working, what do you like to do for fun?
I have a 14-year-old son, 11-year-old daughter, and a wife, and so they keep me very busy at home. And then if possible, we like to go outside and play golf or go fishing or spend time with family. I'm looking forward to this Thanksgiving. My grandpa is living in the house he was born in, so he'll be 97 December 3rd, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has a great saying. So he left Howard County, Iowa twice in his life. Once to go to Minnesota to find his wife, and the other time because the U.S. Army drug him across the world for Korea. And he would always say, James, you get perfect strangers to hand you their wallet? That just doesn't make any sense. And so I think about that a lot when I'm sitting with clients that trust me to, be a fiduciary for them.
I don't know if you want to answer this, but do you have any clients you don't like?
No.
Okay, good. So
No.
everybody who's handed you their wallet has turned out to be a good deal.
I would say that they don't last. And the reason why I say that is at the end of the day, we get to be their outsourced CFO and they're the CEO. And not all personalities clash well together, which is why we're hiring, 5 more wealth architects, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but we're all different people and we all think about things differently. We all want to work with different kind of clients. Some work with a busy executive, some work with a small business owner. Some people really like the mid-level managers and just getting people to their goals. Some people like second generation inheritance. Some people want to work in the family office and they really like talking to their clients about, the new jet that they got or whatever vacation that they're on. It's we're all different people, but we're all trying to do it the same way. And so the service model that we have is not to be the zombie. It's not to show up to work every day and just go through the routine, mundane task and fan it in for our clients. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to actually be there, listen to what their needs are, and support them.
All right, then as we start to wrap this up, tell me one thing about you that most people don't know.
That's a tough question, Patrice. Way to put me on the line.
Oh, yeah.
I was late for church. I was 4 years old. My sister was like 2.5. We were living in Waterloo by Sloan Wallace Stadium, and my dad was reading the paper, and my mom was on the phone with my grandma. And I can remember this like it was yesterday. And I grabbed my sister. She was wearing white gloves, and she had the dress, and I had like a JCPenney little suit on. My grandpa was a JCPenney manager, and so we just had all these like JCPenney clothes. Walking down. My dad had a 1974 Nova that he got as his high school graduation gift. I was born 3 years after he graduated from high school, so that's like a little bit a nugget on us. And I started the car, and it was a clutch, and I backed it out of the driveway, and I ran it into Sloan Wallace Stadium at 30 miles an hour in reverse while Jenny and I were bouncing on the seat, and my dad was running in his suit, and my mom was screaming. You were driving it? I was driving the car, yeah. I thought we were late for church. We needed to get going, and so I just took the keys, and the cop showed up.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and dad were crying when we got out of the car. Jenny and I were laughing. Then I shrunk the car 18 inches. I totaled my dad's baby, but he thought we were dead. And the cop shows up, and he's like, "Who is driving?" My dad points to me, and the cop's like, "Who was driving the car?" And I was like, "Actually, my son, who's 4, was driving the car." And so there's a little in the Waterloo Courier. I got my picture in the paper at 4 for totaling my dad's car.
That is awesome. How did you even know how to drive a clutch?
I don't know. I'm very mechanical. So I watched him do it, must have. And I don't know. It was in reverse, so I didn't have to put it in gear, but I definitely knew how to start the car and what the gas pedal was.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, did your dad get another car? I hope.
He did. We didn't go to church that day, though.
Were you allowed to touch that new car?
Oh, no. It took many years for that to happen. Yes.
Oh, great story. All right, James, I'm really looking forward to additional episodes of this podcast. How can people reach you if they want to talk to you?
We have a YouTube channel. It's called Zombie Advisor. You can look for us on LinkedIn and all podcasting channels. They'll show up on there. So Google Zombie Advisor and look for more episodes.
All right. And also be sure to like and follow this podcast, The Zombie Advisor, because then you'll know when a new episode is ready for you. And of course, please share I'm Patrice Sikora, and thanks for being with us.
Thanks for listening to The Zombie Advisor with James Knapp. Don't forget to hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. Want to learn more? Visit us at boyumwa.com, BOYUMWA.com, or give us a call at 651-289-6444. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Boyum Wealth Architects. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional investing advice. Always consult your financial advisor or other qualified service providers with any questions you may have regarding your personal investment planning.